It still feels strange to say this out loud, but after 24 years of marriage, I found myself watching the woman I once believed to be my soulmate walk out of the house on a Friday night, not to see friends, not to visit family, but to meet another man. And while she thought she was slipping away into the night unnoticed, I had already decided this time she wouldn't be walking back into the same home, because waiting for her wasn't me. It was a process server carrying divorce papers. I never imagined my life would come to this point. When I married Alina, I believed it was forever. She was the quiet light that brightened up my dark days, and in her laughter, I found the rhythm of a life I wanted to keep living. We built everything together, to children, a home, endless memories, wrapped in pictures on the walls. For years, I believed that loyalty, sacrifice, and love were enough. But sometimes, the person standing beside you isn't walking in the same direction. Sometimes, while you're holding the pieces of a shared dream together, they're already searching for something outside of it. It started with little things, late-night texts she didn't want me to see, a smile that lingered too long at her phone screen, her perfume sprayed heavier on nights she claimed she was meeting the girls. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. After all, we had been married for so long. We had survived financial struggles, illnesses, and even the struggles of raising 2 kids. How could something as fragile as attention from another man undo what 24 years had built? But the truth has a way of breaking through, no matter how tightly you try to seal the cracks. One evening, I walked past the kitchen and heard her whispering on the phone. Her tone wasn't the usual warmth she used with her friends or even family. It was softer, almost nervous, carrying that kind of excitement you can't fake. My chest tightened. I wanted to believe it was harmless, but deep down, I already knew. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I studied her patterns. Every Friday night, she suddenly had these plans that never involved me. She'd take extra time dressing up, choosing outfits that made her glow in ways she hadn't tried for me in years. And the look in her eyes when she left the house, it wasn't guilt, it was desire. She wasn't afraid of being caught. She was simply too far gone. And here's the thing about betrayal, it doesn't just sting, it hollows you out. You start questioning everything. Did the kisses mean anything? Were the nights we stayed up laughing, the promises we made, the struggles we fought through, were they real? Or had she been pretending all along? I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Every time she smiled at me, I wondered if behind that smile was the taste of another man still fresh on her lips. Finally, one Friday night, I followed her. I watched as she drove into town and parked near a restaurant we used to go to when we were young. My stomach twisted. Through the glass window, I saw her. She wasn't alone. Across the table sat a man, gray at the temples, sharply dressed, leaning in close to her as though they were teenagers falling in love for the first time. And the way she looked at him, it was the way she used to look at me. My knees nearly buckled right there on the street. I could have stormed inside. I could have caused a scene. But in that moment, something inside me broke completely, not just the part that loved her, but the part that was willing to fight for her. And when that part of you dies, there's no bringing it back. I went home, sat in the silence of our living room, and stared at the pictures of us lining the shelves. 24 years, 2 decades of laughter, of hardship, of raising kids who had no idea what was happening. And she had thrown it away for a Friday night thrill. The next morning, I made a call. Not to her, not to the man she was seeing, but to a lawyer. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I was done bleeding for someone who had already walked out of the marriage in every way that mattered. And together, we came up with a plan. You see, Alina thought she was clever. She thought she was untouchable, sneaking out with her excuses and late-night lies. But the thing about secrets is, they always catch up. So, the following Friday, when she put on her dress, sprayed her perfume, and told me she'd be with her friends, I simply nodded. I let her walk out that door one last time, smiling to herself as though she had fooled me yet again. But when she reached the restaurant that night, the surprise waiting for her wasn't another romantic evening. It was a man in a suit, holding a folder with her name on it. She didn't meet her date. She met the process server I had hired. And in that single moment, her secret world collapsed around her. I wasn't there to see her face, but I heard later from the server himself. He said she froze, her hands shaking, her smile fading as she realized what she had just been handed. Divorce papers, proof that the life she thought she could keep both ways was over. When she came home that night, she didn't speak. She didn't look me in the eyes. She just sat at the edge of the bed, silent, as the weight of it all sank in. And for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Peace. Not joy, not triumph, just peace, because I knew I had finally chosen myself. I won't lie and say it didn't hurt. Of course it did. 24 years doesn't just disappear. I loved her once more deeply than I thought I could love anyone, but love without respect is poison. And I realized, no matter how much I wanted to fix it, I couldn't fix someone who didn't want to stay. Our kids struggled to understand at first. They wanted answers. I didn't tell them the full truth. I didn't want them to carry the burden of their mother's choices, but they saw the cracks, and eventually, they understood that sometimes, even the strongest seeming homes can be built on foundations that quietly crumble. Life after divorce wasn't easy. The nights were quiet. The bed felt too big. Sometimes, I caught myself reaching across the sheets, half expecting her to be there. But with every sunrise, the pain lessened. With every day, I reminded myself that I deserved honesty. I grew stronger. Do I regret marrying her? No. Because regret means wishing it never happened. And without her, I wouldn't have the children who became my anchor. Without her, I wouldn't know the value of loyalty, or the pain of betrayal that taught me just how strong I really am. And maybe that's the greatest lesson of all. Sometimes, the people we give our hearts to end up breaking them, but sometimes, the breaking is what saves us. So when she walked out on that Friday night, I thought I was losing everything. What I didn't realize was finally gaining myself back. Stay tuned for more stories filled with love, heartbreak, and lessons of life.